I'm going to show you how to avoid spending money after 30 years of being a certified public accountant and doing a lot of research. I've seen it all and read a lot of articles. I'm going to show you how to break bad habits. Of course, you're going to spend money on yourself. Other things that you're going to spend on is taxes, shelter, household expenses, other things like transportation fund and insurance. My name is Robert and this is my voice. It's like a curse. The first thing you learn is pay cash and don't charge. I'm going to show you some ways that I did and that can help you. These are really easy things that you can use that you can put money back in your pocket. Here's the number one rule. I learned to pay off credit card debt. Believe me, these companies love for you to pay a lot of interest. That's how they make their money. It's like a cash cow that you're helping them with. It's never too late to change. The earlier that you start, the better. I'm not preaching, but spending money on what you do not have adds up quickly. I had a client that came up with a great plan. I know this is going to the extreme, but he would the night before each day plan every penny that he was going to spend. He would see the next day if he stuck to the plan. He did it for a month. He saw where his money was going and adjusted where he was spending it. I try to stay home and not spend anything. Try to figure out what you're paying for your car, your medical, and your house insurance. Look at your existing plans. Have you seen all these people living in big houses? Trust me, a lot of them are debt up to their neck. They're spending way too much money. Most of the people think when they get money that a person should just go out and spend it. That it is owed to us to spend it. People do not think if you need to buy or whether you can afford it. When somebody like me thinks about charging something, think about it. It shows you how to practice and not going to the 5 and dime store or going to get food from the store every day. Slow it down on the number of trips. You really need to think about things like if your vehicle breaks down or somebody getting sick. You gotta have to be ready for something unseen happening. I always think about the little simple things like eating out all the time. I try to stay home and do something else. Try to figure out what you're paying for your car, your medical, and house insurance. Develop a new plan with your existing plans. Maybe live in a smaller house than a big house. A lot of them have a lot of debt up to their neck. Learn from them and spend less money. Just don't go out and spend a bunch of money. Just go out and buy things that you really need and not spend money. Again, people do not think if they need to buy it or whether they can afford it. Just don't charge. We should wonder how we're going to pay all this back. The time that I charge on the credit card, the greatest hits of the Monkees rock and roll musical group. Who in the world wants that? Let me ask myself, did I really need that? I try to put the credit cards away. My suggestion is lock the credit cards in a drawer and leave them alone. Just take cash with you when you're going to spend money. I had a friend of mine do this, put his in a drawer, but he forgot where he put them. He had to order new ones. Are you going to just buy things that you're not going to even need in a couple of months? I think you don't need to spend money to have fun. Learn to control money for vacations. Try to plan ahead and what time that you're going to be doing something. I know this is not something that you schedule out, the money for the trip. I know this is not fun, but it really works. You can set money out for transportation, food, and nights out. I knew a guy once lived in a big house, drove an expensive car, and owned a business. He finally filed for bankruptcy for $2.5 million. The real rich peoples, the ones that live in the small houses like your neighbors. The guy I was talking about bought a 4,000 square foot house and wasted space. You're going to have a large house payment with taxes, insurance taken out. He would go out and buy expensive clothes to impress. The ones that had money and lived in smaller houses would go to Walmart. Look for assets, not liabilities. Understand, spending money will cause you only to work longer time. Live frugal, not paycheck to paycheck. If you keep getting more in debt, you will never make it. Make smart money decisions. Compare rates of other companies. I know these are things that's something you know, but it works. You can bundle car and house premiums for a lower amount for a few years, which will help you in the long run. If you want to switch in a few years, then do it. How about set up a separate bank account to put money in as an emergency fund? Have 6 months expenses saved up if something comes up. Check different phone companies and see what kind of offers they got. Will they give you something cheaper? You see the commercials all the time. They want your business bad. Then there's rule number 2. Sit down and figure out what your expenses are and what money coming in. You'd be amazed at what this does. As a CPA, I do this all the time. It gives me a roadmap of what needs to be done. You do not have to guess. You do this to get extra money. Hey, why not track where your finances are going? You'll see then that you got to give up going to professional wrestling matches. Just kidding, of course. You could refinance your house at a lower rate to save on monthly payments. And do some repair work on the house to lessen your energy bill. Lower the temperature on your house to get a good bill each month. Then there's rule number 3. Not wisely spending. I'm saying not going out and buying like a pig or a $40,000 watch. I had a friend of mine who lived in an old trailer and had an old truck. He didn't have 2 cents to his name. His aunt died and left him $20,000. Great, you would say, but that was not the case. Went out and bought a $20,000 watch to impress the ladies. Talking about stupid. Spending wisely looks better. Figure out ways of saving money. You heard the old ways of using envelopes for cost. Label each one of them and mark the expense that you're going to pay that month to cover the expenses. After the money runs out in the envelope, do not spend any more on that particular item. I use this system, but I fudged when I wanted to buy more beer. When thinking about books, I would like to think about the library. You do not need to buy anything. They got everything in there, magazine, ebooks, books from all over the place. It's a great place to get financial knowledge. It helps with personal finance. Look for coupons of everything in the world. The internet has local companies giving discounts for you to use their products. Ticket to functions, get repair work, and even a haircut. You try to get financial freedom. A person can learn when late fees hit so they don't have to spend extra. When banks using up-to-date computer technologies have ways of texting and email a potential customer that can save money. Another idea is to look online to see what your local town is doing to save on cost. Always try to enjoy spending. I mean that you could have fun without worrying about it. Know how much money you have to have. Of course, you know the bills that are coming in every month. Knowing what your spending limits are. When you are spending, do not make excuses doing it. Other things causing you to spend would be other people. You're having people push you and you do not want to look poor. I've known people to be in denial about spending. Some of us think that it's no big deal to go shopping. I try not to think about owing companies. You never plan and we do not resist sales. How about when you invest in investments and they are not true? How about reducing the credit limits on your credit cards? There'll be less to spend and you can save money on the long run. Just take a minute and say, why do I spend? I know it's crazy, but it makes sense. How about doing another thing? Look at yourself and say what's missing. I know that you have not thought about it, but review what I just said. Another idea is get an account that you can save extra in each month. You could get an account to transfer it to a savings account with interest building up. Look up on the internet for a cash flow statement and understand it. It shows where money's coming in and going out. You'll love it for the data to study. I had one client take away 10% every month at the beginning to put it away for a safe place. He did it every month. And again, try to get rid of bad spending habits, even though it's tough and then they're yours. Young age is the worst. Try to make a plan to get rid of bad habits and not go back to them. Replace bad habits with good ones. Spending money makes us all feel better and important. Always felt that way when I bought something big. When you're living in your financial means, try to spend less. You can't work forever and you don't want to get old and have a lot of debt. When I get 70, I don't want all these problems. So I've given you some ideas. Which ones are you going to do? Are you going to get on a plan? Are you going to set aside some extra cash? Are you going to get rid of some bad habits? Please comment below. Please comment below if you like these tricks. Please subscribe to my channel because I got some great videos coming up in the next few weeks, and also like my channel below.